Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving Sam and riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive.
Make sure you guys click the like button. Make sure you leave a comment below. But most importantly, make sure you guys subscribe to Hip Hop News Uncensored for more exclusives just like this.
About that.
And powerful. Let's get into the young Dolph thing. There's a video or image that came out. I'm looking at. They said that new image shows a man shooting back at young Dolph's killer. So that's another thing. But how do we prevent this now? You know, we had the stat of the 200 rappers, you know, being killed, and then we were talking last week, and we were like, "Yo, I wonder who the next rapper is going to be that's going to die." Mm-hmm. And ironically, you know, a few days later, young Dolph dies. What's the issue here? We'll break the issue down to the people. What's going on in hip hop? And go ahead, go for it.
Well, we know that back in the early 1990s, there was something that just sort of changed the weather in hip hop. There was something that just happened where suddenly the music just shifted in a very toxic, dangerous way, where you started putting death in the air. It became a death culture. I remember growing up, and there was nothing I would have wanted more than to be a successful hip hop artist and to roll with the guys that had all the money and all the women and all the fame and everything else. That seemed cool to me. And in hindsight, I look back at that and I said, man, being a rapper is dangerous. You know, like Ice-T just said, he said that being a rapper now is more dangerous than being a dope dealer. That is not an environment I want to be in. You did not win when you become a successful artist. You did not win. You may have gotten cursed. You know, now I'm not talking about J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm talking about. We know that there's levels to it. There's variations of this beautiful art form, and it's important that we understand that we can support that art form. And because we love it, we have to make sure that it remains true to its true purpose, true to what it's supposed to be. So unfortunately, you have a scenario where there's a lot of chaos, and typically chaos occurs when there's bad leadership. When there is no leadership, there's chaos. So when you go back to mass incarceration, when people like Joe Biden and Bill Clinton were building all these prisons and they wanted to put all these black men in prison and they were locking up all the OGs, locking up gang leaders on RICO charges and everything else, well, you had a leadership vacuum. And in any country, whenever there's a vacuum of leadership, you always have chaos. You have tribalism. You have people fighting and killing each other. So in communities all across this country, you got young people now that don't have the guidance and the wisdom of OGs that kind of say, let's settle this down. Let's have a sit down. Right. Like, again, I'm not an expert on the Memphis hip hop scene on any level. But one thing I know when I think about Memphis hip hop and young artists, three of the most powerful artists out there are the ones I've observed: Yo Gotti, Black Youngster, and Young Dolph. I was stunned to find out that all of those guys seem like they don't like each other and that there's this back and forth and this craziness going on. And I believe that a lot of it is driven by lack of leadership. Because I can tell you like this: if Louis Farrakhan was elevated as the leader in our community that he is and respected in that way, I think Farrakhan could get all those guys to sit down and say, "Look, what are you doing? You know, you're putting your city on the map. You got the babies looking up to you. You are representing this city. So we have to find a way to form some sort of coalition that's going to be beneficial to everybody. We can't have this this back and forth, right? And so effectively." That lack of leadership is what you're seeing in not just Memphis, but you see the same thing in Chicago. You see it in a lot of different cities. And remember, if you really look at the hip hop industry, for example, you don't have you have people that are really controlling the industry who care nothing about our community. You know, they export the most toxic parts of our culture. Like the more gangster you are, the more records you sell. You get to hold an Astro. Or you can't hold an Astro world if you're not keeping it 100% gangster and being whatever it is that these people want you to be. And unfortunately, all that toxicity, all that negativity ends up falling back on us. And I think Astro World was interesting because that was one of the first times you actually started seeing white people getting killed from the music. And you see how the difference of the reaction is. You know, if Travis Scott had a concert in the hood and 10 people got killed, it would have been a news story for about 3 days. But because these were college students that were dying, and there were mostly white people, and then there was one little kid who was black. Now you got about $2 or $3 billion worth of lawsuits. They might try to take down all of Live Nation over this, right? So to me, I understand it. It makes sense to some extent, but I'm sitting there thinking, Black people been dying from this. Like we've been seeing, the chaos like for 20 something years. And so ultimately that's what it is. It's like making like some, it's like cooking some food in the kitchen that has a toxic waste product and they're dumping all the waste in the Black community and everybody else is enjoying it for everybody else's entertainment. But for our community, it becomes super real because there's no way on this earth that it makes sense for a 36-year-old man who's a father, who's an entrepreneur, who loves his community, to literally get shot while he's going to get some goddamn cookies. That is not normal, man. They have flipped your whole reality upside down and made it into something that it was never intended to be.
Facts. And I want to kind of transition that conversation onto the industry itself, because although we can't directly point the blame at those two brothers that came in there and started spraying that cookie place up and ultimately killed young Dolph, or the man that killed Nipsey, or Pop Smoke, or et cetera, Mo 3, the list goes on and on. But you look at an industry to where now it's even simpler. You can go on social media, see who's hot, throw them some money as like an advance. And if they die, then you make even more money. The streaming service don't stop streaming their music. The merchandise doesn't stop. And we were talking about it yesterday. There's no actual infrastructure in place to actually teach these kids about financial literacy, the importance of investing your money and getting out of certain dangerous situations, because it doesn't seem like anybody cares about that. Because if they did, I don't think that we would see as many of our artists looking like us, waving the money or the guns or the Dracos, or thinking that it's popular to throw all that in our face. You can tell that we don't have a clue what to do with money. Talk about the responsibility of the labels. Do they deserve accountability in this? We know they don't care, but do they deserve accountability in this for not holding up standards to keep these artists safe, or just inclined to know information on how to move different?
Yeah, they deserve accountability, but they'll never take it.
Yeah.
Remember, these are capitalist organizations that don't care anything about your Black ass. They do not care. And it's up to you to care about yourself. That's just the reality. That's the rule of men. And it does become quite sinister when you really look at the corporations. E40 had a song 20-something years ago where the chorus was, "They'll find a new nigga next year." And E40's been rapping about this for 3 decades, where he's basically been saying that you're disposable. You live, you die. They still make money. Remember, the artist, that was a good point you made. When the artist dies, you can still make money from the streaming. You can still make money in fact, you make more money than ever when they're dead.
Yeah.
And this is not just true for hip hop. This is true for any type of art form.
Yeah.
Painters like Van Gogh became famous and was worth more money dead than he was alive. Michael Jackson makes more money dead than he was alive. So there is something to it when people sort of point to the fact that a dead artist can be worth more to a corporation than he was as an alive artist, because you ain't got to be alive for us to make money from your music, right? So with that said, though, it's up to us to understand how that game is played. It's up to us to understand something real basic that's really going out of style, and it's called common fucking sense. Like common sense says that, look, if I killed somebody, which I'm not judging you for killing somebody, but I'm not going to go then make an album about who I killed. I don't care how gangster you want me to keep it. If you say, how many bodies you got on you, Boyce, I'm going to be like, 0. I've never killed anybody, right? Why would I? Again, the culture can make you stupid. Following the crowd can make you stupid. So why would you commit a crime, sell dope, kill, whatever you might have done? Why is that on your record? It should not be on your record, because the authorities use that information to go and arrest you and to charge you. They use everything they get their hands on. It is like shooting fish in a barrel. Or if I'm into drugs and weapons and all that, and the feds know, all I got to do is go catch this guy at the studio. He's going to have the drugs there. He's going to have the weapons there. We get a nice arrest on our books. We all make money. Cops will tell you all day. Lawyers will tell you this all day, that they make money. They built a whole industry around the incarceration of Black men. Like, that's how they eat. They feed their family. If you're talking about, just with the money and all this other stuff, if you have money, what's so cool about giving all your money away? There's nothing cool about giving all your money away, giving your family's financial security away. If I'm in this environment, I think that what is interesting to me is that you have people that have put themselves into a war zone, but they think the exact opposite of the way a good soldier is supposed to think. Like, a good soldier is supposed to have his head on a swivel. He's supposed to be alert. He's supposed to be prepared. If you high all the time, you're not prepared for shit. Like you're an easy target. if you popping Molly's all the time and all this other stuff that's in the music. And so think about this. This is what's fascinating to me. You're literally walking into a war zone, high and drugged up out of your mind. You snitching on yourself on every record. You literally out here telling everybody, like Tekashi 6ix9ine had that album called Test My Gangster, which to me was like the stupidest title you would ever put on an album, because what you're doing is you're pulling things out. The Chinese have an old saying that says the fattest pig always gets slaughtered. So when you become the king of the hill, and Tupac really showed that when you become the king of the hill and you're not ready for that, then that pretty much makes you a target. So if you're not able to operate in that environment from a position of protection, safety, and security, then eventually your reign will come to an end in a very terrible way. So don't put on the crown unless you're ready to wear it. And I don't really know if anybody trains these young guys on what a soldier needs to do. Like even in my world, you know, I'm not a hip hop artist. I don't want to be. But in my world, when I became more prominent, when I became more the king of the hill, I knew I had to operate different from somebody who was just a nobody on the street, right? So ultimately, I would say I wouldn't go into the industry at all. But if you do go into the industry, you know, if I go get my cookies, I'm gonna have them ordered on DoorDash. I'm not going down to the cookie shop and standing out there where everybody can come get me. You know, I know you want to keep it real. You want to be with your people, and you should. But there's just, unfortunately, there's realities to this that make me wonder, okay, did anybody sort of prepare you for the reality of the life that you're in? It ain't all about fun and money and women and all that. You literally have people that want to see you dead. You have people that want to see you fall. You have people that want to see you go to prison. So you got enemies with the authorities. You got enemies for other jealous people. And then you have the random enemies that you don't even know about, because you got 100 million people that are listening to your music. You have to be extremely careful.
Do you see any correlation in your opinion? We found out that young Dolph, you know, was trying to pretty much buy Memphis up. He had over 100 properties. Do you see any correlation with people like him and Nipsey, who, you know, had a bad life, but started to, you know, move out and do some great things? And now then when they're trying to take over and do positive for the community, now they're suddenly just dead and gunned down. What's your opinion on that aspect of it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, these guys were kings and leaders. They were the ultimate in politics. They would be considered like populists, where the people really resonate with them. I mean, Nipsey was a great example of that. You go all the way back to Tupac, and I really love this revolution that we're seeing economically in terms of so many hip hop artists really talking about what it means to acquire and to own and things like that. And that's not done. You know, I would say I would encourage everybody to understand that what you experience in your life is only a piece of the puzzle. When you're dead and gone, there's a whole set of stories left to be played out that are the result of the sacrifice you made for other people while you were here. So in terms of really giving tremendous credit where it's due, if you have that guy who did go out, maybe he made mistakes, maybe he didn't, maybe he went out in a situation where he went out a little earlier than he should have. If you've got children that you poured into, and a family and a legacy that you built that someone else can take and sort of make it into something that's a little bit more solid, a little bit cleaner, or a little whatever you want to call it, then I think that's a great contribution. You know, it's like if I'm in a football game and I get the ball 15 yards down the field and you get it another 20 yards down the field, then I can take pride in that. I didn't go as far as I wanted to go, but I cleared the path for somebody else. So I would say that when you talk about the artists that are really, you know, really taking that ownership, really pouring that money into the community, I think that's great. I think it's time to now take the next step and to understand that when you talk about at least two major industries, hip hop music and black women's hair, those are two industries that need to be owned and controlled by black people. It's a damn shame that these are things that were created by us, that are supported by us, that are not owned by us. So I think that they're heading in the right direction. I think that in terms of the correlation of them dying or whatever the case may be, I would say that what I also see with Nipsey and Young Dolph, and not to speak on this in terms of knowing their lives, but right. I would say that what does happen, unfortunately, is that when you hit a certain status and a certain situation in life, there's certain places that are a little bit harder for you to be than others. There are risks that maybe you have to reconsider because when you're 35, 36 and you got a couple kids, that's a little different from being 25 with no children. Right. So I think that's just the ugly reality that you have to face. But I was really proud of these guys. I'm proud of the economics, and I want them to rap about it. Like I want every artist that's out here making money and doing good things financially and creating real security, talk about that too. And don't just talk about it in a way that is built on that niggatry. Like I'm gonna just throw it up in the club and make it rain. Like, you ain't got to be ignorant. Like, I think that the courage to be intelligent is really the next step in the evolution of the black man, because the black man is meant to be a thinker. He's not meant to be stupid. And remember, you're at war with people that want to see you gone. So in order for you to be an adequate warrior, you must be intelligent. You can't be ignorant. You can't be doped out. You can't be a day late and a dollar short. You have to always want to move forward with your people, because you are a leader, whether you like it or not. I think that we're going to do that as a community. Now, in terms of how people can follow up and stay in touch, they can just go to boycewatkins.com. If they go to boycewatkins.com, there's a whole list of all the different things we got going on in the Black Business School. Black Wealth is our thing. We are going to do the All Black National Convention next year, but we have 1,000 things happening between now and then as well. And we invite anybody in that's down, that's ready to fight, that's got that courage to move forward, that believes that we can do it. Those are our people, and those are the people that we're looking for. So feel free to stop on by.
Dr. Boyce Watkins on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. We definitely appreciate you, Doc. We'll definitely have you back soon, man. Thanks again.
Always, brother.
All right, brother. Good to see you.
Always.
You too, man.
You too, man.
Thank you.
All right. Stay up, man. All right. Talk to you soon.